Hi everyone. I'll be doing something I've been meaning to do for actually quite a while. I did a similar recording, I think about 2 or 3, maybe 4 years ago. I think 3 years ago. Um, I'll be showing you how I format my print books using Word, uh, Microsoft Office Word, and although I'm pretty sure you can use these same steps if you use LibreOffice or OpenOffice, as they're generally the same, but I use Word. I've always used Word for doing this, so that's what I'll be showing you. Um, some people believe that Word can't give you nice looking paperbacks, or that it's too restrictive in what you can do with it. I don't believe that. Apart from a few small issues, I've not had any problem with using Word for this, and those issues within quotation marks, honestly, are more of the I want something lined out slightly differently, and Word just doesn't do that. It's the only off problem I've ever had with it is just like a visual thing, not anything actually, you know, format breaking or whatever. I'll be formatting Color Her, which is the third book in the Flowers and Keyboards series, which is one of my young adult series. And I guess we can just start. I don't think it needs much more of an introduction. This is using the most current Word version, which I think is 2016, 2019? I don't actually know from the top of my head, but it's on the 23rd of March 2020. This is the most recent version of Word. Let's keep it at that. I'm using the file that I also use for my Smashwords upload. So what we're using here is, what you're seeing right now is the file that I use for Smashwords. This is created of, I normally format my ebooks in Vellum because it's quicker, but it has a lot of restrictions in what I can do with formatting, which I don't mind as much for ebooks because readers set their own layouts and everything anyway. So I want the reader to have the best experience they can have for their own, what they prefer when they read ebooks. But for print, I'm a lot more picky. I don't like the formatting that Vellum gives me for print. I just really want a bit more. So that's quite an introduction. So for when I do a Smashwords file, which Smashwords wants a doc file, not the docx that Word generally uses, but all the doc files. They want one of those. So in Vellum, I make a RTF file, which if you go to the menu where you I think it's generate files or generate ebooks. Right under there, it also lets you do, like, literally the next button down in the menu is the RTF file of it. I then open the RTF file on my computer and set H1 headings for it, and just like, these are H1 headings. Now, they weren't in the RTF file, and then I save it, and it doesn't show the hyperlinks in like this style. It shows it in a different style. Like, it just looks like regular text, so that's what I fix up. It takes a couple of minutes. And then I save that as a doc. And long story short, that's the file we're working with right now. So this is the regular doc file. The first thing we're going to do when I have a doc file is that we're going to File, and we're going to go Save As, the same location as the other one. we're gonna make it a docx file because it just lets you use more options and stuff like that. So I prefer to work with the docx file when I'm doing print formatting. Save. That's one. Step 2, we're going to go to options, and in options we're going to save. Then in save, way at the bottom you get embed fonts in the file, and you turn that on. It says preserve fidelity when sharing this document, and it shows you the file name. You say embed fonts in the file, because I'm going to be using a couple of special fonts, and I think it's a good idea to do this anyway, even if you only use standard fonts. I know that some places will complain if you don't use, like you don't properly set the embedding. I don't click embed only characters or the system font not embedding. I literally just leave it at this. It will give you a bigger file technically, but I don't really think that's an issue, because we want the best file that we can upload for. I'll first be doing KDP and Ingram, and I've got a local printer who will also need the files. And I just want a file that's going to be used all over the place without any problem. So we're going to do embed fonts in the file. Okay. There we go. And then I'm just going to save again. Just a quick save to make sure that everything's good. So you can see here we've got copyright page, blurb, and then the chapter starts, but this is not what a print book will look like. So we're going to have to fix that, but first we're going to do the page size. So if you don't have it turned on, you go to View, and here in the Show column, it says Ruler. If I turn it off, it goes away, but if you turn it on, you get the rulers. I love them. I prefer to have them on when I work in Word, because it gives a better clue of what you're doing. So we're going back home, and then we're going to click on the bar. I prefer to click in a gray area, so we get the paper size set up. I'm going to be formatting a 6x9 size book, which is one of those bigger paperback versions, bigger paperback sizes, almost around like a hardcover version size. So one of the bigger ones, and the formatting I'll be using for like the general text and like line width and things like that are based on Warcross by Mary Lou. I think that's probably one of the last print books I've read, to be honest. But I really liked how the font, like the size of the font and the line width. I enjoyed it to read it, so I literally scanned a couple of pages and then held it with my own printed pages against the light to actually get the lines and everything, because I found it very easy to read. And I think that's very important. And Warcross by Mary Lou is also a young adult book. So I found, and also this with video games, which the first book in this series also did. So I found it very, to me, it was a good idea to match them basically. So we're first going to go with the sizes. I'll be using centimeters, but I will actually, let's see if I can quickly do this. No, I'm not gonna. Okay. I'll be linking it below, although maybe I can just, yeah, I should be able to do that. Okay, give me 2 seconds. No. Pull this to the side. Yeah, that'll be fine in a moment, because I've got a file over here. Always handy. Here it will give you, on the side, you can see the page layout, and we'll be getting our 2 pages back soon. So double click on the gray area. That's where we were. Width will be a 6-inch, which is 15.24 centimeters. Height will be 9-inch, which is 22.6 centimeters. We're going to apply it to the whole document. Then we're going to go into margins. Multiple pages, mirror margins, which means, well, mirroring, which is how you open a book. The top will be 93 centimeters. Just gonna put them in here. And then outside. Mirror margins apply to whole document. Okay, there we go. Now we've got 2 pages again. We can get it to like 100%. There you go, 100%. I prefer it this way. So that's first step done. We've pages are the other way around from where you expect them to be. So this is the front, like your left page on your screen will be your front side of a page, and the right page on your screen will be the back side of a page. So front, back. This is really important to remember if you want to start your first chapter on the front of a page, because in this case, if you can see chapter 1 Amber, this will be on the back of a page. We need to, well, we will be moving that to the right side in a moment. So right side will be back of a page, left side will be front of a page. The margin on the left is also bigger because that's the inside of the book. That will be towards your spine if you open the book. And the same goes for the right side on the outside. Then we're gonna go select all. Apply the normal style, which works in this way, so that we can then in a moment start applying special styles. I'm going to scroll down on this side because I've got the formatting lined up. Okay, normal. You click on it with your, you click on the down button, modify. Leave that as it is. We're going to use Garamond, which is a really nice font size. It's 12 font type at 12.5. Then we're going to go to paragraph, alignment justified. Special, we're going to go a first line indent of 0.75 centimeters. Before and after are 0, and we're going to do a multiple of 1.2 spacing. There you go. But check it in here, you can see it still says Times New Roman. I can do this and it will go one at a time. This sometimes happens. I don't know really why it won't do the whole thing in one go. So I just do select A to select all of it. Then I go into the top and I just hit Garamond here. So now everything is in Garamond. And everything is also in the correct size. There you go. If I hover over it, you can see Garamond 12.5, indentation justified. That's one thing. I prefer to use, let's go in here, modify, format, paragraph. Page, I prefer to turn window orphan control off. I know it's not technically industry standards, but I prefer it this way because I get to decide exactly how many lines are on a page, and it won't try to do that for me. Yeah, there we go. Indents. Yep. Okay. Okay. And now it's got everything. It all looks the same now. It all looks one after another. It looks the same. That's good. That's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, that one. Before we do anything else, we're going to do a no indent style, so that the first line of a new section or the first line of a new section won't have the indentation. we go to the bottom here, which has bottom of the styles thingy. It has a new style. Let's call it no indent because that makes it easier. Styles based on normal. Don't do anything but go into paragraph. None. The rest we keep the same. It's going to be based on the normal style. Click. Now we've got no indent next to normal. And it says there, paragraph indentation, first line 0. And you can see here it actually did that. And then you can click and it goes back to normal or to no indent and normal. Like that's how it's going to go. So that's this formatting done. That's basically the standard setup. From here on out, I actually, yeah, let's do it from here. Okay, top of the first page. Gonna double click the header, but we're gonna go down to page number, bottom of the page. We're gonna do, I'm gonna do plain number 3. I'm just going to select all of this and do this into Caviar Dreams because it's one of the fonts I keep using here. So, but then we're going to, so this means it will show it on the outside, on the outer edge. Check, yeah, okay. And we're going to go different odd and even pages. So now you can see the other page doesn't have one. I'm going to go bottom of the page again. I'm going to do it on the other side. And this way, I'm going to use the home formatting Caviar Dreams. There we go. Now we've got the page number set up, which is usually a good thing to do before the next thing I'm going to do, because this way you can say that page numbers always have to they link to next and previous, and we'll be doing a few more things, but if you don't do this early on, then it sometimes gives you a bit more trouble. So next up, my first couple of pages, I've got a certain setup, and I'll be showing you again based on other books I've read and seen. So I'm taking these out. Just delete. I don't need them because they are formatted for the ebook version. The very first page, I just use the title. I will make this pretty in a moment, but I'm first gonna lay out all the different pages. Then we go to layout, breaks, and then you go to next page break. This is why I number the pages already and tell Word that that's how I want to do things, because otherwise it sometimes messes up when you hit the next page break. It will think that you want it going to the next odd page or the next even page, and it will skip numbers and it gets really confusing, I promise you. So first do your page numbers before you start doing this. This will be the front page, like the first page when you open the book. Then on the back of that, I make a page also to published by. I'll be copying this one over from a different book because that's easier. You don't have to put anything on this page. I like to do it because it just gives me, you know, a list of other books and series that people can find. Sorry, I've got some really nice tea. Those are the first 2 pages, and now we can actually do this, because you can see here it says odd page footer section 1, even page footer section 2. So what we're now going to do is hit different first page, and there we go. It won't show the number on the on your first page of a section. You can see here, section 2, we're hitting different page again. So it will show, like it says, still says here section 2, but there we've got the page number for section 2, which is going to be page 3. So we're going to go back here, insert, layout, breaks, next page break. This will be your first page where you've got the whole title and everything. Usually this looks like your front cover in how they're laid out. So let's spell keywords correctly. Again, I'm not gonna do the whole formatting for it yet. We'll be doing that later. I just want to push through for this. And another break. Next page. This is going to be your copyright page. So I usually put them at the bottom, but I don't have my ISBN for it yet. I usually do that after I've got after I've set everything up, because it's easy to do for me that way. So we'll be coming back to these, but I want to show how to do formatting and everything first, and then we're gonna fill this out. Then, as we can see, we've now got chapter 1 on the left page, which means it will show up on the right side when you open the book. This will be the front of a page, so this will show up on the right side for the book. And once we're here, I'm going to get to the next part of the formatting. I'm just going to grab this, that one, there we go. Here we've got special formatting. Oh, and again, you can see that because they are the different sections. Section 3, section 4. This one still says section 4, so I need to do this just to get the correct section. Layout, bricks, next page brick. There we go. Now we've got section 4, section 5, because this one needs to be on a new section. We don't want the page number to show up for the first page of a chapter. So, 1, character name is Amber, and this is the first start, and we've got that. So we're now going to do a new style. We don't base it on anything else. This will be called chapter number. The font is Caviar Dreams, which I use on the cover, in size 40. Format, paragraph. We're going to alignment centered. No indent, but we're going to do spacing before will be 100 points, and it will be single spacing. Okay. And of course that's a lot more angry, but then we go just click normal. There we go. Then we click here. Chapter number. There we go. The start of the chapter. Most books, I've got this further down, but I'll show you in a moment why I've got it quite far up. Then next style we're going to use is the character name, not based on any styles. Which is in Morning Dew in size 45. Format, paragraph, alignment centered, single space, nothing before, nothing after. Okay. Ooh, that one didn't take. 45 size. I did this differently. No, I'll fix it in a moment. I've used for the ebook version, I used a different, because this font has alternatives, and I use them, but it always takes me a couple of moments to fix that. We've got a chapter number, we've got a character name whose chapter this is. Then I've got something special, which is a chapter term based on no style. Chapter term is in Roboto condensed, a 12.5 point, format paragraph, alignment justified. Then we're not using the special, but we're using left indentation and right indentation, single spacing, and we're going to use 15 points after. There we go. All these books have a sort of a term explained on the start of each chapter to give some more background to the world. It actually sort of terms that not everyone would know, basically. For the first book, Her Elysium, those terms were generally gaming terms, like to do with video games and computers. The second book, The Other Dress, it was mostly about anime, cosplay, things like that. And in this book, it will mostly be about basically, running a YouTube video, running a YouTube blog, or makeup, and a bit about autism. So those will be, I call them terms or chapter terms. So those are the first section of a new page, of a new chapter. So what we want to do now is we've got chapter number, chapter name, chapter term. First line is going to be no indent. Then we're going to check. Just going to scroll through to see the rest of the chapter. And we're running into a paragraph break here. For these chapters, I've got this very specific paragraph break that I use for the whole series, because it's a bit of a nerdy series. So scene break based on no style. The font I use for that is BCAP. And we go into 12.5, paragraph, alignment centered, line space single before 3, after 3. Okay, there we go. And now we've got our paragraph break here, our scene break. And then the next one has to be a no indent page one. And we're going to scroll down. Because this is basically how the rest of the formatting is going to be. You scroll down to see if you need to do anything else. Okay, we got another one of these. Scene break. Here we go. And then a no indent behind it. And we've got a new chapter here. So we're just gonna use return until I go back to the previous page. Then I hit layout at the top, layout, breaks, next page break. And here's page 12. And there's no page number for 13, but there's a page number for 14. Okay, I'm gonna take this out. Chapter number, chapter name, chapter term, and a no indent. Okay. Just gonna check because sometimes it doesn't do the italics in the right font, but it grabbed the italics correctly. So just gonna scroll down. The scene break. no indent. Bricks, next page brick. What you can do, and I usually do that, I'm going to just go to the next seam break I can find. Choose, select the seam break, copy it, then go to find and replace, which is Control H, or you can find it replace. So you paste that one in and replace with more, and you can use format, style, seam break. Okay, replace all. Yeah, I've got one selected. I want all of them selected. Yes. And now 42 of them are selected, and they've all been replaced. So we're going to scroll back up to where we were. Chapter 3 was done. Scroll down. Yep. Layouts, breaks, next break. Second number, name, turn, no net. Checking that, yeah, there's no net after that one. It's important. And after that, it's basically just visually checking that it looks good. So, and that everything is formatted correctly. Okay, I prefer to have most of my pages, or most of my chapters started on the front of a page, so on the right side, and this one will show on the left side, but the next chapter will also show on the left side. So now we're going into the non-standard things that I do with my formatting. Like I said, this is the front of the page, this is the back of the page. When you've got two pages that are facing each other, so you've got a back of the page on your left and the front of the page on the right, if you do formatting changes between them, so if they go from left page to right page in a book, and you've changed formatting between them, like line spacing, it will be visible. But if you do it on the back of a page, it's less visible. So that's what I do. This is the front of a page. This is the back of a page. So the first thing I'm going to do to see if I can make this stretch to the next page a little, so that chapter 4 will start on the front of the page and not on the back. I scroll up, and I grab the last line here, and I go to paragraph, and we're going to do the line spacing here at 1.25. Okay, what happens? Yeah, not long enough. Okay, and I'm going to grab up to the seam break, because I don't want the seam break to look different from the previous ones. So up to the seam break first. There we go, 25. And it pushes it down here. But then I'm going to grab the next page. And I'm also going to make this one slightly bigger. Here we go. You can see here the seam break has moved down. But between these, you can barely see a difference. This is more important when you have them, when it's a bigger difference between the two. But I try to stretch it out as little as possible between different chapters. I always start at the top of a right page in the program, which will be the back of a book page. In the program on the right page, so that you go from the front to the back. Like I said, front to back formatting changes in line spacing is not as obvious as it is when you go right-left pages. So we're going to check down, not far enough down that I prefer. So we're going to grab bottom of chapter 23, page 23, and just pulling it up here. Paragraph 25. It's only a small increase. I go up to 0.35 in some cases. I don't prefer it. I've stopped doing this all the time, but because both chapter 4 and chapter 5 started basically on the back of a page, and chapter 3 was long enough that I could do with just a little spacing. I could stretch it out far enough. Like it's not going to be visually much of a difference between these. And this is only a few lines, and it's not going to make that much of a difference because these two will be facing each other. This is the front, this is the back of a page. These two will be facing each other, but it's not enough of a difference in line spacing to make it visibly different. So now chapter 4 is back on the front of a page. That's the end of chapter 3. We're going to go down because that one's the back of a page, then chapter 5 is now on the front of a page again. Because I prefer not to have two chapters end on the back of a start on the back of a page. If it's like this, I used to do that. I no longer make this go short or long. Like what we just did for chapter 3 is basically make it slightly longer. So that it's got a little bit more spacing, so it pushes over to the next page. But if it's only for like until the word eyes here, or maybe even like this line, then I will decrease the spacing slightly to make it go to the previous page. So if there's only a few lines on a page, then I can go make it to the previous page. But if it's this long, I no longer try that because it's so much work and it just messes up with a lot of stuff and it makes it visually different quite a lot. But I prefer to have them start on the front of a page. So that means in here, that means left. So chapter 5, that one has a indent gone. We need a no indent here. Scrolling down, another no indent. Yeah, like this. Well, see? Good. So go to the top of the page. Then we go to paragraph, and I'm making this slightly shorter. Does that work? Not yet. So we're going to grab here. Going to go up to the thing. Paragraph, line spacing, multiple. 1.15, slightly shorter. And there you go. Now it has shortened a little. So now this one is on that side, which means that if we do break, next page break, so we've got both of them quite short after another. This is what I mean when I say making it slightly shorter. And my computer's not really liking doing this. It's going slowly sometimes. I normally don't record while I'm doing this, so I've never done that before. So it's complaining slightly. So sometimes I might pull this up even a bit more, but I'm good with that for now because it's quite obvious it goes to the next chapter. So chapter 6 starts here. I got another seam break, swap by no indent, another seam break, swap by no indent. This one I won't try because it's too long. If it's this long, I won't try doing it, even if it messes with something, because it's gonna either squish the lines too much together or it's gonna stretch it out too much. My chapters are only 2,000 to 2,500 words long, so trying that, like if I had 5,000 word chapters, I would try it, but I don't. So if I try too much, then it just looks weird. Chapter number, I could attempt this one on chapter 10, the end of chapter 10. I could attempt to shorten this, or make maybe no, not shorten, to make this longer so that chapter 11 will be pushed to the next page. But I'm gonna do chapter 11 first to see if it's needed to do that. If chapter 12 also starts or not, because that is sort of pushing it for me in how far I like to do that. Yeah, chapter 12 is also on that side, which makes me think that I might start pushing it, but I'm just going to check in a moment. Going to check on chapter 13. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to try. So this is going to be a graph. This one first. Probably not going to be enough. Let's see. Yep. So this chapter 10 is a bit longer than most of the chapters, so I was able to do this on chapter 10. Then we've got chapter 11, which starts in the front again. Then also here. Breaks next page. I prefer not to do that on italics because sometimes it will apply italics to the whole thing, and that is just, it's annoying. So I prefer just to use that on not on the italics term. This is going quite well, and I'm saying that now, and it's of course going to go horribly wrong in a moment. Most of the pages automatically start on the right side, or left side. Yeah, pretty sure we know what I mean by now. Thanks. Pull a little. Enough, that's enough. Okay. That was correct technically, but just having one line isn't pretty, so I prefer to then just give it a few more lines. Yeah, just check. 621, check 61, so okay. He's gonna do something. See, great, okay. He first grab. Almost. There. Just a bit. Okay, that's good. just gonna, all this back matter is just gonna go, because I don't use that. So front page, back of the page. Now I'm gonna just, can't be bothered to do anything else. I just copied this over from a different book, to be honest, because I cannot be bothered to type anything out for this. So front page, back page, and then you can see the basically a bit of about me. So that was the whole book. It took me about 45 minutes to get here, because we took quite a bit of time setting up. So about 45 to 50 minutes to get this book formatted. And now we're going to go to the top of the book, because now we're going to do the fun stuff in quotation marks. I'll show you. Can you get your cover? Yeah. I'll show you the cover for a moment, because this one can now go. Here we are. This is what the cover of the book looks like. So now we're going to do something with that. First, we're going to grab this. I'm going to do clear all on that, so it takes the formatting out. Yep, okay. Just checking. Even I mess up sometimes, so I just keep checking. I'm going to select all. The font that I used on it is Morning Dew. Then just going to grab this paragraph. No indents. Centered, and I think I've got about 100, probably 150. Right spacing single. Okay, correct. Just grabbing my. I've got the other address on my other screen, so I'm just gonna grab the info I need from that. Size 50. Can go a little bigger. Size 60. I think I like that. That looks good. I do a page like this. I don't know. I think it's called a half title page or something like that. I like these, especially in print books, because I can sign them. So if I'm at a convention, I can sign these pages, and you've got like a whole lot of space to sign. I often sign here at the top, but you can definitely like do a doodle at the bottom of the page or something like that. So I use this page to do basically that. Just give some space, and it's a very, if you open the book, this is the very first page that you encounter in the book. So it gives you a very easy to look at, not too much fuzz page. Then we've got the other side page, so I'm going to have to grab one of the others for that. A lot of what I do here is copy paste from other books, to be honest. Either just visually or like literally copying stuff over, which I'm going to do now. So opening one of my other pen names, and we've got here, we've got the, this is Scott Cliff, which is my one of my new adult reverse harems, and this is this was my last print book that I made. So we're going to grab this. These are all the same across pen names. I didn't do that. I do that now. It just lists all my pen names with the type of genre that they write. E-Engbirds, queer, young adult sci-fi, lesbian romance, 18 plus. It gives you an idea of like what I've written and other things like that, and published by Easily Distracted Media, because I work with all my pen names on the basically sort of a what do you call it, sort of a publisher. So I then list out my series for my other pen names, in case people, like a specific thing, although this one is not supposed to say that anymore. I need to fix that in a few places still. contemporary, and this is like these kind of things I change once in a while, and it means I've got almost 100 publications under my name, under my publisher name. Changing something like this usually goes in stages within certain, like it goes in stages between books. Lila Hart is a paranormal romance. It is a reverse harem paranormal romance, but the pen name itself is generally paranormal. If I'm writing a paranormal romance that isn't reverse harem, it would also go under there. And Skylar Hart does contemporary romance. Scarlet Cliff is my reverse harem, but it's not technically a straight romance. It's a contemporary reverse harem, which is pretty queer in general. So contemporary romance pen name, which is more mainstream than some of the other ones. Enough rambling about that. Let's do the page that I actually like the most to do, but this is also the page where what I usually struggle, because this is literally the only place where Word is not the perfect thing to do this. I could go in and change stuff in, I've got Adobe PDF like Pro thing. I could change it in there, I've just not done it yet. Okay, now we can see on the side here you've got the cover. So first I'm going to use set the fonts correctly. It doesn't actually need that extra space. Okay, color is on it's probably about, let's see, not big enough. That looks about big enough. The downside, I'll show you the downside in a moment. And this one is, you can actually see it over here. No, not that, and then alignment. Right side alignment. Paragraph. Single. None justified. Sides. Okay. These are both going to be paragraph. This is why I usually hit clear all before I do this, because this is always a mess. Okay, so as you can see, if I select this, it has the space at the bottom here too, and I can't make it smush together. So that's basically the only problem I have with it. But I generally just make it work. Paragraph. Let's see what happens if I do 150 points before. Oh, that looks pretty good. I'm not going to do that, so let's up this size. This is another way to use, by the way, do the sizing thing. That got way bigger than expected. I can check on my other book what I used for that. Fair enough. Normally I've got that at 17, apparently. As you can see here, on the side, you've got the grey bar, and the white is until where a page can actually go, where your text and stuff on the page can go, and below that, in the grey area, you can't. So you can see that Emmy is just above the page yet already. Like the pen name can't go down much further. I'm thinking I'm gonna make it slightly bigger. Yeah, I think that looks good. So that's basically based on how I do the cover, and as you can see, the chapter numbers are the same as the pen name font and the font here on top, and the character names are the same as the font of the title. That's why I use these. And this is a font I really enjoy. It looks much better in print than it does digitally. But it's a really nice font that I use for these kind of things. And then there's this Garamond. Let me grab the copyright page. Sometimes this goes wrong, and sometimes it doesn't. What's the date? 23. And then 2020. Gonna have to use the new ISBN, but that's the ISBN for the address, not the ISBN for this book. NUR, NUR is the cover, is a Dutch system. It means young adult book, but I usually use the same internal stuff for the Dutch printer as I use for KDP, apart from switching out the ISBN. So that's why I keep the NUR. Okay, I think we're now done. I'm gonna have to check one more time. We've got that one. That looks good. Looks good. That looks good. So I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna go way down in size, and I'm just gonna check how it looks. Oh, not sure if I said this before, but WASD are the directional keys in video games. A lot of video games you play on keyboards don't just use the directional keys between your keyboard and your numpad, but they use the directional keys on the letters, and that's WASD. That's why I use that, because the Her Elysium is based around video games, and all these books are a little nerdy. Mia in this book also is a avid gamer. She plays a lot of video games too, and games and video games are quite important to all of their lives of characters in this series. So that's why I use that. I had the idea to switch them between books within a series, but in the end I didn't, because I actually kind of like it. It's cute. So that's why it's WASD. It's kind of important probably to know in this case. There we go. I'm just gonna visually check if things look nice. I usually also do this in the PDF version, but in this one I can still change stuff. Looks good. That looks pretty good. You know what? Let me just. Does this subtitles in? Yeah. Just gonna pull this down slightly. So I'm going to. Okay. Just looks slightly nice, I think. Let's do this one. Just 22. It just looks a little nicer if it's got a few more lines on that page. This always takes a little while to just visually go through, see where things look weird, because when you're so close to the page, you don't see when things just look like, sometimes you've got too much of a wall of text. For example, here it's fine. It's harder to see from this distance, but you've got like 1, 2, 3 indents, and then there's 2 endings, and it ends here. So it's not too much of a wall of text. Sometimes, especially older books, I've sometimes got almost a whole page that's just a single paragraph. And these days I'm like, oh god, that looks horrid in print, and back then I didn't really care. But I prefer to keep, a little bit of space between the lines and a little bit of breathing. Like, this is quite a lot, but I know I've checked it during edits, and these need to be this big. This is probably already split up from a much bigger original paragraph. These are quite long chapters for me these days. Normally, like for almost last year, I've written 1,500 word chapters on a first draft. Usually during edits, that adds about 15 to 20% more words. So you round out at about 18,000 words, 1,800 words per chapter. But so these are a little longer than what I've been working with lately. That means you get a bit more variation in a little space also in when you're formatting, because you've got more words per chapter to work with and more lines per chapter. So making it shrink or grow just a little really it's easier. You don't have to put as much lines, as much space between paragraphs, and honestly, it's not that visible. Some of my books I've been formatting with a bit more space between the lines up until about 1.3 with even larger font size. My reverse harems have that, and I like that even more. I actually prefer larger, like slightly larger fonts, especially because it reads easier. These aren't like 800 page tomes in this layout. It's like here you can see it's 275 pages. It's not a massive book. And print books are special. At least that's how I feel about it. They're just special and unique, and they deserve to look good. Readers pay a lot more for the print books than they pay for ebooks, so I think it really deserves to get like the best experience you can get. And that's the end. That's the last page. For Ingram Spark, you need 2 more pages, so you just add in 2 more pages by using your layout and then breaks. You just add 2 more pages at the end. They like that. Let's do it anyway. So Ingram Spark and KDP has the same number of pages. Just 2 blank pages at the end, because we used the first page different in the footers. They don't get page numbers. They like 2 pages at the back, which are empty. So that adds me up slightly. And that's it. Still have to add the ISBN. That's normal. And this is how I format my books. Just about an hour. That's not bad, to be honest. I'm going to have to like scroll through and do quick things, but like even on my channel, an hour or almost an hour and a half of video is not that weird. So now I'm going to try something which I hope won't crap out my my computer or my recording. So I'm going to save this first. Just save. Let's see. Let's wait for it to fully save. Okay. And now I'm actually going to start my recording, so that if it does crap out, it's not going to crap out, like get me in trouble. Okay, this is a new recording so that if anything goes wrong, it doesn't mess up the whole thing I've just done. Okay, then because I think I've got this because I've got the what you call it, the Adobe Pro thing. So save as Adobe PDF. It shows my correct file location. We want PDF. Okay, color her. It's giving me this. Yeah, I'll have to do that later. Save. And now it's going to make me a PDF. Had to stop the recording for a moment because it was just pulling too much on my computer to have it on together. So here is my PDF version. You can see it. Yep, looking all pretty. Let me just zoom out. It's now got the one page, but if we go to the top here, view, page display, 2-page scrolling, but we also turn on show cover page. There we go. So now you can see that this is your front of a page, because this is the back of your cover. Front page, it's the back. This is the view you get when you actually use a book. So back, this is your first page of your book, and then you can just scroll through. So this is from, where did we go? Oh, no, not that one, this one. Just zoom back in. This is what it looks like in Word. And then this is what it looks like if you then go to the PDF version of it. And this is what it will look like when you've got the print edition in your hand. This will be the front of the page. That's the back. And this is your spread. Like, there's not much difference these days. Like, this is the same book as ever, as we just worked on. You can see this. I've got the number. See, this is what I catch now because I forgot to do the thingy in between. So I'll have to fix that in a moment. But what you anyway have to do anyway is go to Tools. Then you go down to Print Reduction. And you click Pre-Flight. Just drag it over, because that of course opens on a different monitor for me. And it's not responding because I'm doing too much of it at the same time. There we go. And you go to Show All. You can see here Acrobat Pro DC 250 profiles. You want to go PDF analysis and list potential font problems. Analyze. So you want to make sure that it's all embedded. Yeah. Overview, fonts. This is one of the fonts I use, which is embedded, as you can see here. Next up, embedded through, embedded through, embedded through, embedded through, embedded through, embedded through, and embedded through. So the embedding is correct for it. They still, sometimes I can make those go away, and sometimes it keeps doing that. But as long as it says in overview under fonts that all the embedding is correct, then you're good to go. It means that if you if someone on a different computer on a different system opens it, it won't give them trouble. That's all it means basically. It means that your file has the fonts in it, so that no matter what computer you open it on, it will show the fonts. And that's important. And I think that's like it for me. Thank you very much for watching. I'm currently looking at the time because my pop-up just popped up, which means it's 1. I think I'm going to do a make your cover video. How to, if you've got your ebook cover, how you can do the print cover for it. I think that's a good idea to film too. So I may not upload that immediately. That might take a while to upload, but here is how you format your ebook This is how you format your book for print in Word and make it look really pretty. Let me see if I can, like, this is Amber. Let me see if I can get up one of my other books just to show you more. Like, I've used 2 fonts at the top. The book is called Scartcliffe Volume 1. So, pen name at the top, Scartcliffe Volume 1. And this says, this book includes the first 3 novellas of the Scartcliffe serial, Her Escape, Their Struggle, Their Downfall. Then you get, because this is a box set basically, or a collection. Amazon wants me to use it volumes. Whatever, doesn't matter. These are usually laid out the same on these pages. Then this book includes these books. Then you get basically the title page for the first, Her Escape, Scartcliffe 1, empty on the back, and then you get the title here, which again, this is the same as one part of the font, and this is one part of cover font, and this is the other, and then you just scroll. It's exactly the same otherwise. Like how I set it up, how I do layouts. I think this one is paragraph. This one I've been using a slightly larger font, 13 instead of 12.5, and it's multiple at 1.3. I prefer it these days because this is my last one I've done, and it's got a cute little swirly swirl to go there, and it's, I guess, not much difference between them. Otherwise, that's basically the only difference. As you can see, this is the other way I do layouts for the volume or box sets, whatever you want to call them. That I have these at the front, and then basically the novella itself get its own front page chaptery thing, and then you start the chapter, then you start the novellas. So that's the other way that I do my layouts. So here is our end results. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, if I don't forget it or if I don't get too busy, I'll also be doing a quick blog post to go with this, where you can more easily just see what I've been talking about when it comes to like your sizes and other things like that. And thank you very much. I hope you've got a great day. See you in the next video. Bye.